So today's session is, as I mentioned, as Chandan also mentioned, it's all about business models, all right, that will help build viable startups. Okay. So what we've done till now is that we've gone through session 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 5 was all about Ask Me Anything, which was about questions that you had, and you guys had a lot of questions that we went ahead and sort of tried to respond. Today we are in session 6, which is business models. All right, session 7, which is next Tuesday, we are going to look at taking your startup to market, selling to real customers and stuff like that. And thereafter, we are going to get into another Ask Me session, Ask Me Anything session, along with the elevator pitch, demo of the elevator pitch. Okay, and finally into securing funding for your startup. So that's what we're going to do. That is going to be the next Tuesday, which is 18th, and then 25th, and then 2nd, and that's where we're going to end this series. Okay. So now we've already gone through this, and I'm going to do a very quick recap in terms of where we are. So if you remember, we talked about the problem statement canvas. And what was the problem statement canvas? And okay, so what is the problem that I have? What is the context and the consequences, all right, of the problem, root causes, then saying that, okay, this problem is being faced by whom? Who are the customers? Who are the consumers or users? All right. What is the current solution that they have? And, how well am I aligned to the problem? Please mind it does not talk about the solution. It talks about the problem. All right. So this is what we had seen, right? So because of some challenge, I am not being able to see the chat. All right. So when I ask you to do something on the chat, you kindly go ahead and do that. Chandan is going to look at that and is going to revert saying, what has been the response from all of you. Okay. So this was the problem statement canvas. So this is how we define the problem. And the problem that we had identified with this specific example was the fact that, school children are disengaged, okay, who are not learning. Okay. Now, this problem is impacting whom? Parents and students. Parents who are the customers and students who are the consumers, okay, or the users. Within parents also, all right, you will have the father and the mother. Why I'm trying to segregate them? Because we know that both of them will have different outlooks, okay, with regards to the problem in hand, with regards to the children, okay. So that's why, and it's very important that we look at this, and that's what we went ahead and discussed during the session wherein we figured out the customer persona. All right. So we did this exercise wherein we said that who is the customer persona and what is the persona of the customer. And this one, if you notice, is all about the mother of the child. So for the mother of the child, the needs are different. It's holistic development of kids, live a good life, admission to a good college in India or abroad. Okay. Why are we highlighting this? Because that if the segment changes, that is, instead of the mother, if it's the father, all right, the father may have the same needs, may not have the same needs. All right. So similarly, if a father has a need, the mother may have different needs, right? So that's one thing that we need to look at. And of course, then you go the consumer, the category, if you notice on the top, it says consumer, and the consumer in this case is the student, okay? And the student has different needs, of course. Learning that is fun, good grades, make parents proud, enjoy life beyond studying. Those are the points which are there for the student, okay? And therefore, the wants are also different. That I want engaging and interesting content. The lessons should not be big, or they should be bite-sized. It should clear my doubts. I should improve my exam scores, and it cannot be a substitute for Instagram. Okay, I mean, kids have variety of requirements. So what did we do next? We went ahead and developed an MVP in the last session. Okay, and so these guys also went ahead and developed an MVP. They validated it with 150 plus students and parents, and we looked at how they went ahead and validated. All right, and so these were the observations that they made from the MVP validation exercise. In this specifically, they looked at the customer persona fit. All right, the customer fit, which is in terms of So from the parents' perspective, did it work well? They said, okay, all right. What needs improvement? The need to validate with more children in the classes 9 to 11. All right, that was there. The outreach was there. Pricing insights were taken from the parents. All right, while the kids went ahead and so while the parents were willing to pay 500 to 999 rupees per month because they are the customers. Remember, they're not the student. Okay, is not the customer. The customer is the parent. Okay, uh, they show greater value to be able to, we need to show greater value to be able to charge a higher amount, and so on and so forth. So these were the points that were identified from the validation of the MVP. Okay, so they developed an MVP, they validated it with 150 plus students and parents, and based on the feedback, they went ahead and created a market-ready solution called version 1.0. Okay, and and you remember I had shown you this, and I had also asked you to go through value proposition canvas. So my question to you right away, very quickly, how many of you have gone through the value proposition canvas? Can you give me a yes or no or anything so that I know that you've gone through it? Apurv, Rajendra, Vivek, we have Richa. All right, can you go ahead and say? Did you go through it? Did you get to see the value proposition canvas? If no, then put a no in your chat box, but give your response there. It's important. No, all right, that's okay. No. All right. Vivek also said no. Sorry, no. All right, so none of you have gone through it. All right, so let me reiterate the fact that value proposition canvas is important. All right, and ladies and gentlemen, you need to go through this. All right, this will help you understand. But I thought that some of you might have missed it out. Didn't know that I will have a 100% success rate, but nonetheless, all right, let me very, very quickly take you through this. Okay, so value proposition canvas has these two things. There's a circle on one side, there's a square on the other side. The circle on the right hand side is all about what the customer needs. All right, so what are the things that the customer wants to get done, which is what is known as customer jobs. Okay, and then the customer also goes ahead and outlines what are the pains and what are the gains. Pains are basically negative emotions. Those, in very simple words, pains are, so customer jobs are what? Customer jobs are the things that I want to do. So for example, in the students exercise, all right, what does the customer want to get done? The customer wants to get done in terms of, the customer wants to get good grades, or the consumer here wants to get good grades. Wants to, wants the learning to be, bite-sized and stuff like that. What are the pains? That means what are the things that the customer or the user out here in this case surely does not want to experience. All right. So one thing that they surely don't want to experience is they don't want to have long sessions. Okay. So similarly, all those things which are negative emotions, which they really, really don't want to have, all right, are pains. What are gains? Gains are things that they really, really want to have. Okay. And opposite of pains is not gains. Okay. Why? Pains are negative emotions, and gains are those benefits that the customer is expecting. All right. And, would be surprised if those are available. It is not that, it's not a deal breaker. Okay. Gains are not a deal breaker. Pains are not a deal breaker. But pains are things that I really don't want to experience. And gains are things that I would love to have. All right. Keep that in mind. So jobs are things that I want to get done. Pains are things that I want to surely not experience. Gains are those things which I positively want to, I would love to see it. So if you know all of this, then you now move on to the left side of the diagram, all right, which is all about, what are those things that you will provide as a product developer. So you will go ahead and say, all right, our customer needs A, B, C, D gains. Okay. So how can I create those gains as a benefit in my product? Okay. So it says, describe how your product and service create those customer gains. So for example, if I want, I would love to, have learning which is, which has a lot of videos. Okay. So how do I go ahead and create that gain? And so let me reiterate. I want to go ahead and I would love to see more and more videos. Okay. Now, if I don't have videos, okay, is it a deal breaker? No, may not be, but it will not motivate me for sure. But so as a product developer, what will I do? I will go ahead and ensure that there are small bite-sized videos which are incorporated in my product. All right. So that is gain created. Similarly, what was one of the pain? I surely don't want to have long, sessions. So how do I relieve the pain? I relieve the pain by building a feature in the product that none of my sessions will be more than 1 hour. Okay, which is meant for younger kids. For older people, learners, it'll probably be 90 minutes and not more than that. So that's a pain reliever. It's going to be a pain if it is more than 1.5 hours. So how am I going to relieve it? I'm going to relieve it by ensuring that it is not more than 1.5 hours. So gain creator and pain reliever. And all those things that I need to do to get the job done are the features or in the product and services. So what is important is that on one side you've got the customer, what the customer wants, in terms of the product, the customer's jobs, the gains and the pains. And on the left-hand side, it's all about what is the product or service that you are developing, which is to say that, to create a to ensure that the customer's jobs are done, you've got your product and services, but you specifically highlight what are the gain creators and what are the pain relievers. One very quick trivia that I want to share with you, which is that if you know the gains and pains, now we told you that customer jobs are for sure to be taken care of. And that is what is mentioned in product and services on the left-hand side. The gains and pains are things that the customer or the user wants to either get rid of or would love to see. Now, when you do a pain reliever or a gain creator, pain relievers are the first priority that you need to take care of. But there are things that you may not be able to relieve right now. Okay, so you may be able to relieve it after, let's say, 6 months of the product, in its maturity cycle. So maybe that also defines, that also defines what is that feature that I need to build in 6 months' time. So what is your product development calendar? That also gets defined as you continue to get more and more insight in terms of what are the pains that I really want to get rid of and what are the gains that I would love to have, right? So going back to that example of WhatsApp, WhatsApp came out with a plain vanilla thing, which was, which basically took care of the customer's job, which is that I want to send longer messages. I want to be able to send, videos, video snippets, and I should be able to, send attachments. So that was taken care of by the first version of WhatsApp itself. But what are the gains that people wanted? I would love to, create messages and keep it somewhere. So now after so many years, now WhatsApp has a feature or a benefit wherein you can send a message to yourself. So you write a big message, you want to send a long message to all your teams, you can go ahead and create it in parts, all right, and keep sending it to yourself, and later on just put all of them together and send it to the set of people that you want. But they did not have this gain creator right in the beginning, right? They must have known that this is a gain that a lot of customers want, but it was not in their product development cycle. So I hope you can understand this, that the value proposition canvas is one canvas which will help you create value for your customers and will also help define what is the product development calendar that you should possibly go ahead and look at. It's very, very important that you go through this in detail, ladies and gentlemen, because this will help you quite a lot when you move forward. Okay. So is this brief good enough to get you interested? Give me a thumbs up. I want to see that. And I will catch hold of all of you, all right, next time if I see that you've not gone through it. Good, good, definitely. Thank you, Rajendra. Apurv, Vivek is also typing, I'm sure. Vivek. So, this is a very, very important thing. All right, I used to create a group in WhatsApp and then remove the other person, so only I remain there. Okay, now you don't need to do that. In fact, if you go to WhatsApp, Vivek, and you go ahead and send a message to yourself, you can actually search for your name. You can actually search for your own name because your name will be saved as the user, right? You search for your name, it will show your name, you can send a message to yourself. So I'm just saying that, see that these gains have got, gains. This is something which we designed. We love to be able to do that. But they didn't go ahead and create it. And we also forgot, most of us. But now they have created it. And believe you me, I use it so much. So much. Okay, yesterday I had to take pictures of about 70, medical, reports of medical reports, okay? Medical reports. And it had 70 pages. Now, I didn't have the energy to go and stand next to the printer and, get it scanned. So I kept on taking pictures and sending it to myself. Once I did that, I came onto my laptop and I just did a right click and did save all. Now, save all also was not there earlier. I did save all. All the 70 plus documents got saved together in my download box. So you see how product development cycle will actually go ahead and help. We're running late already. So let me go back. All right. So thank you very much. Let's just go back here. All right. So just keep in mind, features will tell, but benefits will sell. All right. So what you see out here, customer jobs, what customer wants to get done, all right, are the product and services, the features that are there. Features will, features are required. And if you go to Kano model, all right, this customer job, which is a job which the customer wants to get done, will at the most fit into your basic and your performance criteria, right? If you really want to do a delight for the customer, then you need to get rid of the pains and you need to create the gains. Do you see the connect now? All right, so it's very important. So features tell, but benefits sell. And why I'm saying this is because most of the time, a lot of entrepreneurs get stuck on features, but they don't focus on the benefits. Features are physical features of a product, including price. All right. How big is your phone? How big is the screen? How big is your processor? How fast is your processor? What all apps you can download? What all, you've got a camera. It has got 3 lenses. These are all features. Okay. Like 3G MP3 player. Now that is a feature. But the benefit is that you have got movie quality picture that you can take. You have 1,000 songs in your pocket. Relax. These are benefits. These are what will sell. And that is what is important for you, as an entrepreneur. Similarly, it's an organic shampoo. Yeah, it's a good feature. It's an organic shampoo. But what does it mean to the consumer? To the consumer, it means shiny hair. So therefore, features tell, benefits sell. Yeah, you feel beautiful. Shiny hair is an outcome. You feel beautiful. Now that is a benefit that you're selling. So anyway, now let's jump into the session. All right. So what are we going to do today? We're going to build a lean canvas for your business model, and we're going to set up some metrics and modes for your startup. So that is more from the perspective of learning, but lean canvas is what we're going to look at for creating your business model. Okay. So lean canvas. Okay. Before I come to lean canvas, now I want you to tell me. Okay. Can you very quickly type and tell me what's a business plan? Very short. What's a business plan? Sagar, hi. What's a business plan? I want not a one word, but a phrase or a line, all right, as a response. How to execute business, okay? So it's a plan which tells you how will I go about executing my business. Very good. What else? What else? Very quickly. Hold on to that thought, Sagar. I'll just come to that. But business plan, see, blueprint is usually one single page, Sagar. But business plan is like, a 5, 10, 15, 20 page document. Right, Sagar? So formal document that defines the roadmap, yeah, sure. Yeah. So it defines the roadmap that, ye karenge, fir ye karenge, this I'll do, then that I'll do, and all of that. How will I go about it? All right. Not a mind map, Richa, because a mind map is a single pager, no? See, a business plan is all about writing the entire plan. That this is what I will do. This is my customer. This is my product development strategy. All right. This is how I will approach. Okay. So the entire thing. All right. Apurva is typing something, and then we'll move on to the other. Okay. Apurva. So there is so Sagar, what you've said, and Richa, what you've said is basically a single page. Okay. Yeah, Apurva. Yeah. How will I finally end up making money? Absolutely. All right. So this tells you the entire story. You give it to someone goes through pages and pages of the document and gets a overall picture ki bhai tumne socha kya tha? Kya karoge? How will you go ahead and make money? Very good. Now, my question to you is, what is a business model? Can you go ahead and write down what is a business model? Business plan, though, I've just explained to you very briefly. How will you, like Apurva says, how will you make money? All right. Formal document that defines the roadmap, how to execute the business. But what is a business model? Sagar is typing something. Okay, very good. Go ahead. Exact way money is earned from the customer. Okay, so that is what Apurva also mentioned. No? How exactly will we make money? So that's the part of the business plan, Sagar. Okay, plan to generate money. That's the part of the business plan. What is the plan to run the business? Okay, what you said was that how do you plan to run the business? Okay, framework that defines how to create and deliver a product. Okay, so yes. So now these are two important words which you will continuously come across when you are, going out to people and, meeting up with people and all that. They will always go ahead and talk about all of this. Business plan, or like in the debt market world or the bankers world, okay, it's called a project report. Okay, so business model is a blueprint. Okay, so business model is a blueprint, a canvas, which goes ahead and tells that in one single snapshot, it gives you a view कि भाई तुम करना क्या चाहते हो, तुम्हारा problem क्या है, customer कौन है, how will you, what is your value proposition, how will you reach out to people, all right, is it making business sense, is it making financial sense, all right, what are the channels that you will approach and all that in one single page. Now, if that blueprint, like the blueprint of your house, if you had the blueprint of your house, it very clearly tells you that this is how boss it will look like. Okay, it is not the business plan. So business plan and business model, the difference essentially is that business model is the framework. Okay, like Rajendra has mentioned, it is a framework that defines how to create and deliver a product, which Richa had mentioned earlier. It's like kind of a mind map, or like Sagar had said, all right, that it's a blueprint. That is a business model. And what is a business plan? It is a plan to generate money. It is the bigger story. It is what explains the entire business model. कि भाई ऐसे बनाओगे तुम पैसा. Are we getting it? Give me a thumbs up if you understood the difference between a business plan and a business model. Business model is the framework, blueprint, and business plan is how you will go ahead and execute. All right, now we are clear about it? Very good. All right. Now, so today's session is all about figuring out how do you build the business plan, business model. See, business plan, you will get enough and more, templates, and it's your story and you can build that. But nowadays, what has happened is that people go ahead and want to see the business model, because, no one goes through a mota sa business plan in detail. They will go through the business plan in detail, or they will ask someone in their team, "Ki bhaiya, go through the business plan." But everyone wants to see one single snapshot in terms of the business model. And you will realize now, when we discuss this, that business model is something which will actually go ahead and help move fast. Clarification needed. For example, should I be able to explain business model in 1 or 2 lines? All right. So Rajendra, business model is not in 1 or 2 lines. 1 or 2 lines में जो आप समझाते हो business को, or the way that you explain your business in 1 or 2 lines is, and by doing that, Rajendra, you need to, if you want to explain your business model in 1 or 2 lines, why are you doing that? You would do that to excite people, right? Rajendra, right or wrong? 1 or 2 lines is basically to excite people. That, my dear friend, is what is known as elevator pitch. Idea pitching, elevator pitching, and that is something what we will go ahead and cover on the 25th. Okay. Business model is like a document. It's a one single page document, and we will see that right now. Okay. Let us just move forward. We are running 15 minutes late, but nonetheless, we'll cover it. Okay. So business model canvas are a variety of types. Okay. I've given you some types out here. The original business model canvas was built by Osterwalder. All right. And you can find that. You can go to a site, and Chandan, if you can just, put that up on the chat box, it's called Canvanizer. All right. You can go to Canvanizer and you can get all of these canvases, value proposition canvas, template, startup operating canvas, business model canvas, lean canvas. Business model canvas was developed by Osterwalder, but we don't use business model canvas for the startups. For startups, the best one to use is called the lean canvas. Okay. The lean canvas is something which is used for startups. So you can ask, then who uses business model canvas? Business model canvases are a business model canvas. The template is used by mature businesses. Okay. So that was the only one which was used earlier. But over a period of time, people have realized that the lean canvas makes more sense. Okay. So we'll go with that. So the lean canvas essentially looks like this. There are 9 blocks in this, and we will go through each of the blocks very quickly. Customer segment, which is all about target customers and early adopters. Then every customer looks at the problem in a different way. You remember we talked about it, no? Like the AR/VR company we referred to, and I referred to that, right? That the customer could be a parent, could be a father, could be a mother, and the way that they look at the problem is different, right? Then you've got the consumer, who's the kid. The way the consumer looks at the problem is also different. So when you create lean canvases, all right, lean canvas is basically tagged around the customer or consumer. Okay. So for every customer type, customer persona, you will have a different lean canvas. Okay. So that is customer segment. Related to what? The problem. So what are the problems? Related to what? What is the unique value proposition which we covered yesterday? Basis the unique value proposition, what are the top 3 features that we are referring to? Right. And if there are features, then what is the unfair advantage? Do I have an unfair advantage? Is there something which I am doing which can't be easily copied? And now that I have the product, what is the path to reach out to the customer? So hence, what are the channels? And if those are the channels, after all of this, does it really make sense in terms of revenue, lifetime value, gross margin, and all of that? All right. Is that making sense? Now, if that is making sense, that there are monies to make into this, let me also see whether there are, what are the costs, and if the cost, everything might be fine, but if the costs are too high, you may not end up doing it. Right? If the costs are too high. Now, once you've figured out the cost, that means everything is in place. Your customer for whom the problem is there, problem is identified, solution is identified, value proposition is clear. You have an unfair advantage, basis which you've gone ahead and created a minimal viable product. You've gone ahead and done the validation. Now you come and sit down and, after you fine tune your product, that boss, how will I reach out to customers? What are the channels? We're going to look into that. Don't worry. All right. Now, once we know that, okay, yeah, there is a way to reach out to the customers, let me see if I'm going to make money. So that's the revenue stream. All right. And then if I'm making money, fine. But if the costs are too high, then I'll not be able to run it. Right. So let me look at the cost. And after all of that, let me also figure out that, what will Papa ask? That boss, what are your key metrics? What will your investor ask? What are your key metrics? What will your, other stakeholders ask? What are your key metrics? Yes, you will say making money is metric, but there are also a lot of interim ones, right? Which will tell you that you're on the right path. Now, those are key metrics. Now, these are the 9 blocks which are there in the lean canvas. We will go into them one by one. Okay. So, and I'm going to use which example? I'm going to use the example of the parents and the students and the problem that they're facing with regards to their education, and how the AR/VR company, went ahead and filled up this entire lean canvas and did it. Okay. So let us start with a small little video. It's a 2-minute video. Okay. Listen to it properly so that we can go ahead and, look at it in detail.
As you can see from this lean canvas.
Chandan, can you see the video, or could you hear it? Could you confirm it to me?
Yes, Paco.
All right. So guys, it's 2 minutes, 27 seconds. Listen carefully, take notes if required, because this will explain to you that box, that first box in detail.
Was diagram right in front of you. It comprises of 9 elements. We will take a deep dive into each of these boxes so that you can understand how does the lean canvas help capture value for your enterprise. Let us start with the first block on your extreme right hand side. Okay, that is the customer segment box. The customer segment is nothing but the customer persona that you have discovered, the persona for whom the problem exists, the persona who would be willing to pay to get the problem solved. The persona has components like the demographic profile, that means the age, gender, educational details, income backgrounds, the geographic profile, the location where the target customer persona is located, the psychographic profile, what is the motivation that drives this particular customer segment. Having understood these 3 profiles, you are in a better position to put them down in the customer segment box. Under the customer segment box is a smaller box called as early adopters. Always keep focus on the first customers that you expect would be willing to try your product as well as pay for it. Could be your friends, could be people you know, could be people in your network, doesn't matter. But these are the people who would be the first one to come and buy your product, test your product, and give you genuine feedback. So while you are thinking about the customer segment and trying to detail it out, also keep an eye on the early adopters.
Okay.
Rahul Gandhi, speaking in West London, the United Kingdom, said,
Sorry. Okay. All right. So, is the explanation clear? All right. With regards to what the customer segment is all about. So, what did Raj, he's my colleague, all right, what did Raj talk about? He talked about the psychographics and demographics of the customer. And we've covered that. You remember the KNOW model, the NO model? All right. So we need to know the customer, the psychographics, the demographics. All right. We need to understand, what are their motivators and stuff like that. All right. And we also need to keep in mind early adopters. And who are early adopters? They are those really, really bad guys. Your mother, like my mother, all right, she will always criticize. My wife, she will always criticize. But these are early adopters. These are people who, if they express that they would want to buy, that's your first line of success. But there are also people who will be brutal with their feedback. That was, this is not right. That is not right. And listen to them rather than getting into a fight. I used to do the same thing. My father used to say something, all right, and I would get into a tiff with him. More of an ego battle, right? But the fact of the matter is, those are your early adopters, your friends who are ready to try out your stuff, right? I very jokingly tell my wife that I was one of your early adopters when it came to you making food. So obviously, but she took feedback and she improved upon it. All right. So that's very important. So urban parents of CBSE school children, single, dual income, well networked. This is the customer segment that we are referred to. Just to tell you that, this is what we are looking at. We are looking at the customer segment, which is, urban schools, classes, 6 to 12 parents and students. Within that customer segment, we are saying we are looking at the parents right now. Now you will say, where did the student go? Because student is a consumer, is also a part of this box, right? Hold on to your thought. I'm sure you must have had that in mind. Hold on to your thought. I will cover it up later and I will show you how it all comes together. But important that per segment, you need to have a lean canvas. Okay, let's move forward. The next thing that we need to look at is the problems bucket. Number 2 is the problems bucket. So let's look at the video and let's see what problems and how Raj explains this to all of us. Okay.
Let us move on now to the second important box, which is on your extreme left-hand side. That box comprises of the jobs to be done or the problem statement, right? That basically means if you go back to your value proposition canvas, list down all the functional jobs that the customer is expecting to be done, list down the gains that the customer is expecting, and list down the pains the customer is wanting to avoid. Like I said, if you have filled up the value proposition canvas in detail, filling up the business model canvas or the lean canvas becomes that much more easier. Under the problem statement box, you will see another small box, and that is called as existing solution. What is it that your customer is currently doing to get the problem solved? Obviously, the customer is not waiting for you to develop the product. Would be very happy if you come up with a solution for the problem, but there is something the customer does at present, and you need to articulate that. What is the existing solution? What is it that your customer is doing to get the problem solved today? Let us move to.
Okay. So what Raj has just explained is that now that we have, tagged a customer type, in the customer segment, all right, we picked up one single customer. Now for that customer, all right, how is that customer perceiving the problem? So the way that the parent is perceiving the problem is that, we've got disinterested kids and there are poor grades, the tutors are unreliable, and there's a general anxiety about kids' future. All right. Now, this is a problem. And where did you look at the problem? Yes, you looked at your value proposition canvas, but you also looked at when you were defining the problem statement canvas, right? You went ahead and wrote the problem at that point of time. When you were creating the value proposition canvas, maybe you would have defined it even further, right? Which is what I just explained to you. So, disengaged school children who are not learning, worried parents, the context and consequences important. And what Raj mentioned is that what are your current solutions? That Baba, problem to hai, par aaj ke din mein solution kya hai? All right. So is there a solution today or not? And if there is a solution, then you need to note it down. You know why? Remember Kano model. Whatever is the solution today, all right, whatever problem that the solution is solving, you have to do better than that, same or better than that. That means your basic curve, remember the basic curve and the performance curve. performance line. You have to do that. So therefore, it becomes important that whether your solution, all right, is the current solutions, you are aware of it or not. Now you're getting it. That while you made this problem statement canvas, और कभी आपको लगा होगा कि यार एक current solution में क्यों काम करना, or whether why is root cause important, why context is important. It is becoming clear that, imagine your funding agency. They would like to see कि Baba, for every customer that you identified, have you been able to identify how you're looking at the problem? Is that clear or not? So that's why it's very important that you look at the problem, and within this bucket, you also look at what are your current solutions. Believe you me, if you put up your business model, your entire startup's business model onto this canvas will solve majority of the problem. So your customer segment, where is it coming from? You've already gone ahead and done your customer persona study, right? You get that information from there, put it here. Where are you getting the problems? You're getting it from the problem statement canvas. You would have gone ahead and done your value proposition canvas, the Gola side. And what does the Gola side say? You got Gola and you got Square, right? What does the Gola have to say? That what are the jobs to be done? And what are the gains that I would love to have? And what are the pains that I would really want to get rid of? So all of those combined together, you need to find out what are those key things that you're going to focus on and put that up. And that's why it says top 3 problems. You can write all your 30 problems out there, but write what are the top 3 problems. And for that, what are the current solutions which are available? So now we coming to the solution and the unique value proposition bucket. Let us first of all go through the unique value proposition. And once we figured out that what is the value proposition that we want to provide, then we'll come to the solution. Let's look at the video.
Having understood these 2 important segments, one on the right-hand side and one on the left-hand side, you need to move your attention right at the center of the lean canvas. And as we discussed, this is where the entire core of the business model resides, and that is the unique value proposition. What is it that the customer is coming to you for? Could be anything. Like in the case of an management education, it could be career aspirations. So you have to clearly write that unique value proposition that we offer the best career opportunity for our target customer.
Okay, so what we've gone ahead and done is we've gone ahead and looked at what is the unique value proposition. Now, we went through unique value proposition yesterday to go ahead and figure out that what is that specific value that the customer is looking at. All right. And in case of our example out here, what are we looking at? We are saying that if this is the problem, disinterested kids, poor grades, unreliable tutors, the value that people will want to see is in the immersive learning that changes lives. Yeah. So which changes lives in terms of poor grades becoming better, all right, and anxiety getting alleviated. So that is the unique value proposition, and that has to be a succinct message that you should be able to provide on the lean canvas. All right. Now, once you know your unique value proposition, and we've gone through that session, when we talked about the MVP, right? Before we created the minimum viable proposition, all right, we went ahead and said, what is the unique value proposition that we need to go ahead and build? Okay. And that actually comes out of the value proposition canvas, which I have explained to you briefly, and I've also requested you to go through that in detail. I'm sorry. Okay. So now let's look at the next box, which is the 4th box, which is on solutions. Okay.
Once you've really understood what is the core value proposition, then building other blocks become much, much more easier. Let us now move our attention to box number 4 on the left-hand side, which is the solution. The solution is one of the easiest boxes to fill because in your value proposition canvas, you have already defined the features of your minimum viable product. So list down all those features, the functionalities that your product or service is going to do. Let us review how many boxes we have filled up so far. We have filled up box number 1 on the right hand side, which is the customer persona. Box number 2 on the left hand side, which is the problem statement. Box number 3 at the center, which is the unique value proposition, and box number 4 on the left hand side, which is the solution. Let us now step back and see what are the things that we need to really build the value on this data discovery. The business model canvas can be used judiciously to understand which is the solution that you think will work the best for you. Once you've
So what we've now come to is, all right, and I'm not going to reiterate what Raja said, but for every segment, we have a problem. For that problem, we have, worked on the value proposition canvas, and therefore we have the unique value proposition, all right? And what does the value proposition canvas give us? It gives us all the features. It gives us a list of the pains that I would really like to get rid of. It gives me a list of all the gains that I would love to have. All right. And therefore, it tells me what are the features and the benefits that I want to provide at this stage in my product or service. Why am I saying at this stage? Because there might be some gains that you would love to give to your customers, or some pains which you would really like to get rid of for your customers, but you may not want to do it now. You may want to do it later. I gave you the example of WhatsApp. One of the gains which customers had expressed that they would love to have is to have a draft facility. All right, so that they can store a lot of information which they can keep it with themselves. All right, so they went ahead and created that system in which you can send a message to yourself and therefore keep a lot of this information in one place. All right. Apart from that, there are other gains which they've also bought in. For example, they have enabled, which has been about 2 years now, but they have enabled, payments, small little payments which you can do. In India, you can only do up to 2,000 rupees, but those are payments which you can do. It can tell you can actually, no one thought that they would actually go ahead and introduce something called my current location. And we use it so much nowadays, we actually can go ahead and give them, where is my current location, and people can follow that and reach wherever you are. Not that they're in competition with Google Maps or with anything else, but that is one of the features that they have now given, right? It was not there earlier. So that's why it is important for you to be able to create the value proposition canvas, all right, and those 3 questions that we responded to last time before we create the minimal viable product. Okay. So in case of value proposition, all right, one of the easiest ways to go ahead and write it is, for example, the structure that we had shared earlier also. So for whom? School children in classes 6 to 12 in CBSE schools who want to learn in an exciting, fun way and do well in exams. This is what they want to achieve their goals. But they find books or classes boring and stressful. What is our solution? AR, VR learning solution, because we believe that is something which will, help them get, feel interested about their learning. Now, there could be other solutions also, but I have chosen this solution. Why? Why have I chosen this solution? Because, and let me go back, because this is my alignment. I feel aligned to the problem in this manner. Okay, maybe because I have that skill set to go ahead and create an AR VR solution. That's why it becomes very important. All right, which enables them to learn concepts in an experiential way, cover their syllabus, all right, and making them feel excited about learning, securing their future emotional gains, right? Emotional gains from your pains and gains. Okay. And what is our secret sauce? Our secret sauce is that it is patent pending digital AR VR based content delivery, which is your differentiation. Now, please keep in mind that our entrepreneur in this case believes that this is their secret sauce. It may not be, but he or she believes that this is the secret sauce. This secret sauce is what will be your unfair advantage. Do you see the one with the round circle? The unfair advantage. That means if I have this is that in Kano model, there is that delight feature. All right. At the absolute apex, no one has it. Only I have it. Okay. But why I will not give it full marks? Because it is patent pending. What if if they don't get the patent? Or what if someone else gets the patent before you? Then it will no more be an unfair advantage, right? So, like entrepreneurs, like I am, all right, we are always very, forward looking, and we believe that this AR VR headset is going to be patented in my name. And therefore, at this stage itself, I can say it is an unfair advantage. Why? Because it can't be easily copied. Pfizer, I'm giving an example from pharmaceutical industry. Pfizer has a lot of molecules wherein they get an unfair advantage. Why? Because they have a patent on it. Now that patent is not going to be applicable, let's say 4 years from now. So they know that they have the unfair advantage for the next 4 years. Unless someone else goes ahead and produces, manufactures a different molecule which handles the same ailment. But that's a very highly unlikely thing. So Pfizer knows that for the next 4 years, I have an unfair advantage. After that, the molecule will be available to everyone to produce, and therefore the unfair advantage may cease to be there. So unfair advantage may not be there for every product. If it's a Me Too product, let's say, for example, I was talking to you about vermicomposting. Do I have an unfair advantage there? No, I don't have an unfair advantage there. All right, but that does not mean that I will not work. Let's see what Raj has to say about it.
Having understood 5 boxes in the lean canvas, let us move on to one other important box that you can see on your right hand side. That box is called as unfair advantage. This box may need you to think deep through as to what is that secret sauce that you hold that makes you uniquely positioned to deliver this value proposition to your customer. Do you have a patent that gives you an unfair advantage? Do you have a location that gives you an unfair advantage to reach out to customers? Do you have access to suppliers that your competitors are not aware of that gives you an unfair advantage? The very fact that you are a startup, the agility of a startup in itself is a big unfair advantage that you can use for yourself. But remember one thing, unfair advantages don't remain unfair for a long period of time. So you may have to keep on reassessing the advantage that you have over a period of time. Having
very interesting perspective, right? That your unfair advantage may not continue to be unfair advantage, as I said, and most importantly, please keep in mind one thing. As a startup, your biggest unfair advantage is your agile. You can very quickly change. You don't have things which are holding on to you. So that is very, very important, okay? So that's the unfair advantage, and let me try to see where is
Paco, there is a Paco, sorry to interrupt. There is a question from Vivek. Is it important to have some unfair advantage in my product?
Yeah, so good. So in fact, I wanted to take a breather right now. So all the others, kindly think about any very quick question that you may have, because we've covered 5 boxes. Is it important to have some unfair advantage in my product? No. It is good that you have. It's beautiful that you should have. But if you don't have, don't mind. And that's what the example which I shared. No, Vivek, I am getting into, I am an, agripreneur. Okay. In fact, I have also started working on another business idea, for which we did an MVP about 10 days back. We are doing another MVP, MVP drive in another 10 days. Okay. And the first MVP drive itself gave us so much amount of, confidence and motivation that we know that the second one is going to be successful, and we are already excited to very quickly launch it in probably in the next 60 days itself. All right. So what is the unfair advantage? The unfair advantage is my co-founders the co-founders access to people and early adopters, okay, who trust her completely, okay, in the micro market in which we are operating right now. What is the other unfair advantage? Okay, you may not have an unfair advantage like the way Raj was saying. You may not have an unfair advantage in your product, but you may have an unfair advantage in your team. For example, apart from a specific team member, let's say, for example, if you're going ahead and running want to start a pizza outlet, okay. Now, let's say your brother, all right, who is a Michelin star pizza chef, all right, from who's been in Italy for the last 20 years and has now decided to come back to India, all right, Swadesh movie variety, okay, and comes and joins your venture as a chef. Imagine the unfair advantage that you have. The other unfair advantage you can have is because you are a startup, you have the flexibility to try out new things, pivot if required. But you may not have a unfair advantage. Like in my case as an agripreneur, I do not have an unfair advantage when it comes to vermicomposting. Do you get the point, Vivek? That you may not have unfair advantage, but sometimes you have an unfair advantage which you may not even see. You get the point? So that's very, very important to be kept in mind. Any other very quick question? Any other very quick question? We have Bharti, all right, Bharti, Apurv, Rajendra, Sagar, Richa. Any very quick question, because then I'll move on to the next set of blocks. And while we are doing it, how would the customer be made aware of any unfair? Okay, I'll come to that. Okay. Can you very quickly give me a thumbs up if this structure of a video with an explanation from my end, all right, with the spice from my end, is making it easier for comprehension? Can you give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down? This model of a small little explainer video with me giving the spice, is that a model that's working? Okay, very good. Very good. Very good. All right. So let me go back to Rajendra's question. How would the customer be made aware of any unfair advantage? You may not have to, Rajendra. So let me take some examples. In case of your cousin brother, who is a Michelin star pizza chef who has come and joined you, you will put it up, right? That you've got a Michelin star chef working. That will get people. So customers will come to know during your promotion, during your, in your billboard outside or whatsoever. My co-founder knowing so many people and is in, her entire what she presumes that first 3 months, her entire sales will be based completely on early adopters, and there are so many that itself will make the business viable. Now, that unfair advantage need not be told to anyone. I mean, it's nothing that you will go tom-tomming about. All right. Similarly, the unfair advantage that you have with regards to the agility in your team. All right. You need not tell it to anyone, or but people will come to know when you are able to very quickly respond to their changing requirements. Right. So I'm giving you some examples of unfair advantage which does not seem to be something which you can go ahead and share, but it can be. But otherwise, you will put up your unfair advantage there as a part of your promotion, as a part of your product. All right. Let me give you an example. You know that Amul has recently, in the recent past, went ahead and made a legal case out of the fact that ice creams, all right, are made up of milk. And those ice creams which are not made up of milk cannot be called ice creams. Have you heard about this? This was the case, right? Now, because of that, what has happened? Yeah, Vivek. So you can go and find out. What has happened is that there are so Amul writes ice cream, but there are companies who do not write ice cream. I think Quality Walls or someone who does not write ice cream anymore. They actually, in the backside of their dabba, and some corner, they write frozen yogurt. Why? Because that is made out of vegetable oil. Can you imagine? What else is made out of vegetable oil? Mayonnaise. So basically, you are having flavored sweet mayonnaise. Chandan, can you very quickly look at that organization which is a very big ice cream company but is actually selling frozen dessert? Chandan is typing, so he may be, it's getting out of my mind. So, and
It's
that
Quality Walls itself. It's Quality Walls
itself. Quality Walls.
Yeah.
So Quality Walls ice cream is not ice cream. It is made out of vegetable oil. It is basically flavored sweet mayonnaise. Eggless mayonnaise is what you're having. Do you know that the cheese which is used in Domino's or Pizza Hut and all of that, it is not cheese? I'm not saying it is plastic. It is not plastic, but it is not cheese. It is a form of stabilized vegetable oil based non-egg mayonnaise, and gives you, because of stabilizer, it gives you that gooey effect, but it's not cheese. It is salty. It tastes like cheese, but it is not cheese. So tomorrow, if the law tells that if you do not have cheese, you cannot claim it has cheese. But so they don't say cheese. You know what they say? It is cheesy. Cheese ke tarah hai, but it never says that there's cheese. What about cheese burst? Cheese burst has a little bit of cheese, but most of it is mayonnaise. It is a stabilized vegetable oil based non-egg stuff. Vivek, learning of the day ho gaya. Okay, so what is Amul doing? Amul is going tom-tomming about their unfair advantage. It's not an unfair advantage, but yeah, right now at this point of time, for a small period of time, to get more and more market share, they're doing it. But who has been the biggest beneficiary of this law? The biggest beneficiary are the Arun ice cream and the local brands who were actually making it with milk only. Now, however, some of them are very shitty to taste. Okay, like there is one guy out here I know. All right, poor chap is trying to do a lot of things, but his ice creams are very, very bad, right? But the fact of the matter is, he's also going ahead and writing no vegetable oil used, pure milk. So I went ahead and asked him, do you use A2 milk or A1 milk? So he just kept quiet. I hope you know what is the difference between A2 and A1 milk. If not, Google it, you'll find it out, and it'll be an interesting read. All right. So can you go ahead and, as Rajendra says, how would the customer be made aware of any unfair advantage? You will put it up in your packaging. Someone puts it up on their promotion. Someone doesn't talk about it because the unfair advantage is like that. And some just get attracted because, like that. So, for example, Jeremy Clarkson, Chandan is showing me the clock. Jeremy Clarkson is the one who used to run Top Gear. That's a very, very famous program on TV, all right, which is all about fast cars. He also was the host of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Now, when Jeremy Clarkson, just before the pandemic, decided to be a farmer, he had 1,000-acre property, okay? And he wanted to farm on his own. Because of his background in media, and he has about 7.5 million followers on Twitter. The day he launched his restaurant and also his farm shop, he just tweeted it. And there were so many people that the village council where he has his property actually went against him. Okay, so unfair advantage gives you unfair advantage, but may not be always fair, right? So, all right, let's very quickly go on to the rest of the stuff. Okay, so we've gone through unfair advantage. Now, one of the unfair advantages, for Coca-Cola, all right, is that they have got patented, stuff. Now, let's look at the next one, which is the channels, okay? So, channel out here basically means what is your path to the customer? How will you reach out to the customer? Very quickly, let's look at what, Raj has to say about this.
Let us move to the right-hand side of the canvas and understand that having discovered your customer persona and the unique value proposition, you need to understand the next box, which is key channels. What are key channels? Key channels are those connector points between you and your customer. How do you deliver the unique value proposition to your target customer segment so that he and she can get the problem solved? That is what you should think about in the channel. Now, these channels could be delivery channels. That means the physical delivery of the product. If it is a SaaS software, then probably a cloud server is where you're going to locate your solution and people are going to log on and use that product. Or if you're developing a physical product, let us assume you're developing a wristwatch, then you need a physical channel, something that will, like a courier, which will pick up the product from one location and then deliver it to your target customer. So channels could be physical in nature, could be digital in nature. For example, if you are using customer feedback or you are using an app to reach out to your customer, and you're reaching out to your customer through a digital channel. Most communication channels today are digital in nature. So whether you're using any social media channel or you are using a simple messaging app to reach out to your customer, they are all communication channels. So physical channels, virtual channels, digital channels, and customer feedback channels. Let us assume that you have a 1-800 number which allows your customer to call back with product problems, product issues, product feedback. That becomes a customer feedback channel. So list down all the key channels in this box. Why this is important? Because the development of these channels, the use of these channels is going to cost you money, but at the same time, it is also going to get you money. For example, if you use a payment channel wherein customers transfer money to you electronically, these channels help you also collect your cash.
So, what are we saying? Channels are for promotion, channels are for reaching out to customer, channels are for fulfillment, channels are for getting feedback from your customer. And as Raj mentioned, it's very important that you know which are the channels which are going to impact you, all right, and work upon those channels. Okay, you need to establish those channels. And make good use of it, because that is the only way in which your value proposition is going to reach out. Value proposition, as in your solution, as in your product, all right, is going to reach out to your customer. The customer is going to use one of the channels to pay you back. The customer is going to use one of the channels to give you feedback. And it may be also a channel for you to reach out to your customers, to tell them about the new stuff which is happening, or promotional stuff, or whatever it is. So it's very important that you know what are the channels. And look at it. Why are the channels to be mentioned out here on the lean canvas? Because whoever sees your lean canvas and looking at it from the perspective of your funding agency, or your venture capitalist, or your father who's made the pay, who's helping you bootstrap, all right, will know that this is how the customer interaction is taking place. Yeah, so that's why it is very important. Channels. Okay, now so how do you come to know of your new products or new offers and all that? Multi-channel marketing and all of that. So so this is just to give you an idea from a marketing perspective, how it works out. But it's not just marketing, it is also payment channels, it is also feedback channels, it is also distribution channels. All right, very important. Yeah. So now we come to the revenue stream on one side, which tells you that, while all of this is fine and that I'll be able to reach out to customer, all right, will I make money? And I hope that the costs will not be prohibitive. So let's look at the revenue streams first of all, and then we'll move forward. Okay.
Let us now turn our attention to the two bottom boxes in the lean canvas. On your right hand side, you have the revenue channels, and on your left hand side, you have the cost structure. Please understand the words very carefully. You don't need to list revenues in this box. You need to understand what are the various revenue channels that you are going to get from your customers. For example, of the mobile phone, suppose you've developed a new mobile phone, then one revenue channel is obviously the sale of the product. The second revenue channel could be selling of accessories. The third revenue channel could be probably selling insurance on the product. And the fourth could be repairs and services that you will offer for your product. So any smart enterprise does not rely on a single revenue channel. They look at multiple revenue channels. So take a deep dive and figure out what are the revenue channels that you are going to go after when you are building your business model.
So it's very interesting, and that's what you need to keep in mind. This is about revenue streams. All right, the places from where you will make money. This is not about exactly what will be your cash flow, what will be your revenue like, and stuff like that, your P&L. All of that will go into your business plan. All right, but revenue streams is important. Now, Raj mentioned one thing very important. One very important thing. He said that any smart entrepreneur will not have one revenue stream, but will have multiple revenue streams. I'll quote you an example. All right, I was consulting, and I wasn't consulting. There was this ice cream, retailer. All right, is a startup, young guy. All right, and very, very enthused about this entire business. He came and he told me that his problem was that even in a place like Bangalore, all right, Chennai is a different story, Delhi is a different story, but even a place like Bangalore, all right, where the variance in temperature is not much throughout the year, but he's found that the sale of ice creams take a dip when it goes towards winters. So what could he do? Because he's a ice cream guy, all right. So one of the things that we went ahead and, to cut a long story short, we did was that we introduced waffles. Okay, we introduced twisters. We introduced French fries and we introduced cheese pops. Okay. And I asked him to rethink his value proposition to his customers from being an ice cream, a solution being the ice cream shop to a hangout place where you can come throughout the year to enjoy various short eats. Thereafter, we are now going to introduce in this year, all right, profit rolls and chocolate eclairs and inverted ice creams and, magnums and stuff like that, all to ensure that his revenues, he has multiple revenue streams through different categories and SKUs so that he has the least amount of variance from a day-to-day, month-to-month revenue. Okay, that was just an example that I wanted to share. Let's look at cost structure from Raj.
Moving on to the box on the left-hand side, which are the cost elements. You have to understand that not all costs are incurred on day one. So you may want to classify your costs into startup cost, which is also called as the capital cost, something that you need to get your enterprise up and running. For example, you may need to pay some money to someone to block your domain name so that you can use it. That is an initial capital investment into your business. Or you could be buying a computer for yourself so that you can start work on it. Or it could be a deposit that you have put down for a premise that you've taken. These are initial capital costs, and they're probably incurred right at the start of the business. Having understood capital cost, there will be fixed costs in your business. These are costs that are incurred on a month-by-month basis. For example, rent, salaries, telephone charges, internet connection charges, something that you need to pay and are not linked to the sales of your business. These are the costs that you will incur irrespective of whether you have done business or not. These are fixed costs. Just list down all the cost elements in your business that you expect to incur. You may not incur them all on day one, but you need to be aware of what it is. Now we have covered.
So, very important, all right, with regards to cost structure, which Raj has just explained. If a smart entrepreneur would like to reduce the capital costs and the startup costs as much as possible and make them into fixed costs, that means things which that person is going to pay month on month. So, for example, one will not want to buy a van. Let's say you need a Maruti van, all right, to deliver stuff and that. You may not want to incur a capital cost of, let's say, a second-hand Maruti van at 2 lakh rupees, but you would like to you would want to reduce your capital cost, which is your upfront cost. So you may want to buy a Maruti Eco, which is costing 5.5 lakh rupees, but instead of paying 2 lakh rupees, you pay 50,000 rupees as down payment and you pay 10,000 rupees per month. So what happens is your initial cost goes down. So you turn it into fixed cost. The second thing which I would always want entrepreneurs to do is to look at how they can reduce their fixed cost and turn them into variable costs. That means, all right, let's say, for example, you want to sell, right? So you have got a product and it requires sales guys. So what a lot of entrepreneurs do is that they minimize the salary, which is the fixed cost, which they have to pay on month-on-month basis, but they go high on the commission, all right, which is a variable cost, which is based on the sales, all right. So the more the sales, more the commission payout. Lower the sales, lower the commission payout. But your salary has always been kept low, right? So try to move your capital costs and startup costs as much as, but not everything, but few of them which can be done towards fixed cost. And whatever is there in your fixed cost, always imagine, is there any way in which you can move this into a variable cost? I'll give you a very simple example. All right. One of the fixed costs which is there with, let's say, in case of agriculture, is that every year you need to pay a lease. All right, in case you've leased land. All right. So let's say, for example, your cost is about 50,000 rupees per acre per year, and you've taken up, let's say, 10 acres. So it's 5 lakh rupees that you need to pay every year. So here the fixed cost is not on a monthly basis, but it is on an annual basis. But from your budgeting perspective, you may want to keep it monthly. So a lot of smart farmers, what they do is they say that, all right, 5 lakhs is there. I will pay you 2.5 lakhs through the year. The rest of the 2.5 lakhs, instead of 2.5 lakhs, I'll pay you 3.5 lakhs, but in form of the produce which has come up. So what has the smart farmer done? Reduce the fixed cost, reduce the immediate burden, and has linked it to the productivity. All right. So that is how, people. So these are not new concepts, but we need to use them very smartly. Okay. So the last one is about key metrics. Okay. So before I get into that, you've got variety of things that you can do with regards to the various things with, you can do a franchise, you can do a freemium subscription, service aggregation, and all of that. These are ways in which you can reach out to your customers. Okay. And these are various ways in which you will build out your revenue streams. Okay. Financial projections, I've just explained to you. All right. You will go ahead and keep a note of all the costs which are there. Now, out here itself, if you see the office, you could have purchased an office. You say that, I'm getting a very good office, which is at a very low rate. All right. But that's a capital cost. Why do you want to do that? Why don't you take a rental and move that capital cost towards, your fixed cost? So this is how we go ahead and look at financial projections, but I'm not getting into financials in deep, but just wanted to give you an idea. The last one is about the key metrics, and very quickly, let's look at the key metrics by Raj. And
now we have covered 8 boxes out of the 9 in the lean canvas model. It's time to move on to the 9th and the most important box. The 9th box is called as key metrics. Entrepreneurs should understand that they cannot measure the success of their enterprise post facto, by which I mean vanity metrics like sales or download of apps has no meaning because it's all happened in the past. What entrepreneurs should focus on instead is to measure the business as it happens. That is what gives you a grip on any slippage that might occur while you are running your own business. One of the most simplest and the most powerful key metrics that smart businesses use is called as the Net Promoter Score, or NPS.
Very key. Important.
Every time a customer engages with you, buys a product or service, makes you a payment, gives you a feedback, every time the customer is interacting with you, your organization, what does the customer feel about it? So NPS score, or the Net Promoter Score, is a clear indicator of how likely the customer would recommend your product, your service, your organization to someone or her who may be interested in
so
buying
the question
same
out
product
here,
or service.
ladies and gentlemen, is the fact that vanity metrics are important, how much of sales you do and all of that. But what is also important, and in fact more important, is to figure out what are those enabling ones. Are you keeping your eyes on that? That will tell you whether you're going on the right path or not, or whether you need to do something else or not. So that's very important. So what we've done till now is we've looked at all of the elements with regards to the business model, but everything has been around that one customer segment that we're looking at. Okay. Now, so metrics that matter, these are the things that we went ahead and discussed: customer acquisition cost, cost per lead, lifetime value, active users, monthly users, revenue, and all of that is important. But what Raj also mentioned is that while all of these things are important, revenue and average revenue per account, what is the ARPU, which is the average revenue per user, or the revenue growth rate, ticket size, all of that. But also what is important are the initial indicators like, are your customers leaving you? All right. Is there a customer churn? What is the net promoter score? That is the likelihood of the person willing to buy your product again. Okay. So that's very important. So now what I've done is, if you look at it, we've completed all the 9 boxes. All right. But now we've added the other, colored post-its, wherein we are looking at the customer segment of the consumer. All right. So students of classes 6 to 12, so and so and so. Look at the problem. The problem is a little different. All right. The solution may be the same, and fair advantage may be the same, but the channels of reaching out to the consumer in this case will be different. All right. So Insta, FB may be important. Okay. Whereas in case of parents, it might be FB and LinkedIn and also Instagram, of course. I'm not saying no, but newspapers will be of no use when it comes to children. Nowadays, they don't really read newspapers. All right. So that is what the business model canvas is all about. Okay. So I will pause here. We've already we've gone ahead a lot. I had thought that we'll be able to wrap it up a little earlier, but let us just sort of take a very quick poll in terms of how did you like the session with regard to understanding the lean canvas as a canvas for putting up your business model together. Do you think now you will be in a position to try building your business model canvas? Because once you do this, it will become very easy for explaining it to all stakeholders. कि बाबू क्या करने वाले हो, समझते हो या नहीं? Do you understand your business or not? That's what a lot of people ask, specifically when people in your relations go ahead and pay money to you to bootstrap, right? So Bharti is saying it's very useful. What about others? What is your one-liner thought in terms of the session? So Bharti, just to give you an example, just to help you out, you can actually go to canvanizer.com. Canvanizer.com, and you can download the template from there. I put it up there. You can download the template from there and actually go ahead and use it. Okay. It is, so start with your value proposition canvas, your problem statement canvas, your value proposition canvas, your customer persona, and then come to your lean canvas. But let me tell you, once you've done this, your conviction on your own thought process will shoot through the bloody roof. Okay. So let me stop here. Let me hand it over to Chandan, who I'm sure has been giving me, bad gazes and looks, but I think it was. Did you find this, guys? Did you find the session useful? Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down.
Guys, please type it in the chat box.
You anyway said that the model of a video and an video explainer and me doing the spice up is helping, but otherwise, yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Rajinder.
Thank you, Rajinder. Thank you, Apurv. Thank you, Bharti.
All right. So, who has not been responding from the entire list? Let me look at it. Everyone else. Sagar has not been speaking today. I don't know. He's angry or something. Bharti has logged in from 2 different places. Sagar, are you there, Baba? Okay. All right. So, handing over to you guys. Yeah, Chandan.
Okay, thank you, Paco. This is an amazing session and clarified a lot of points in why do we need a lean canvas. Okay, Bharti says both PC and mobile. Okay, Bharti, we understand. Lean canvas, why it is important, and it is important for a startup to use the lean canvas compared to the Osterwalder's business model canvas. So we should look into the lean canvas model, and it was helpful. And also, you guys have mentioned that this particular combination of explainer video plus uh, explanation with some additional examples is helping you. So we'll keep that in mind. In the meantime, to know little more about the platform and how you can engage us, how do you need to do your poll and give the feedback of the session, I would like to hand over the session to Chetan. Chetan, over to you.
Thanks, Chandan. Just 1 minute. I'm quickly sharing the screen. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Paco. That was a wonderful session. I hope you guys can see my screen.
Not yet, Chetan.
I would request you all to go to
Yeah, now we can see. Now we can see.
community.wfglobal.org. I'm just pasting a link in the chat. Please click on the link, or you can open a new tab and go to this link. And once you're here, please go to your respective cohort. And click on your journal here. So it's just the usual that you guys have been doing for the past 5 sessions. You just have to fill your journals and give us feedback on what's been happening. So we have both in the same link, so you don't have to click on 2 different links that you were doing earlier. I would request you all to please go to this area and complete your journal. Please don't forget to fill your names. This is very important for your certification. So I request you guys to finish the journal and the feedback. Do let us know if you're facing any issues in the chat so that we can help you accordingly. Thank you, Bharti, for the confirmation. And once you're done with the journal, please put a thumbs up in the chat so we'll get to know that you've completed the journal and we can move forward to the next agenda. Okay, just give me 1 minute. Let me share the link again. I apologize for that, guys. Sorry. So I've shared the link again to see if you're able to find the session 6 journal. And let me know, Rajendra, if you've found the right, if you're on the right session. And for the rest of you, please do let us know if you've completed the journal. You can put a thumbs up in the chat. Were you able to go to the right journal, Rajendra? Okay, I see that you're talking about this, right? I think there was a spelling mistake. I'm sorry. Yeah, we'll get that changed. But this is actually the journal for session 6. Sorry the confusion, Rajendra and others. Great, thank you. Please ignore the typo, yeah? How about the others? Vivek, Bharti, Sagar, Apurv, have you guys completed the journal? Please feel free to give a thumbs up if you're done. And also we've updated the session resources as well for the session 6. So you can go to your My Resources and find your session 6 resources here. As usual, the recording will be uploaded by tomorrow, I believe. So you can watch out for that just in case you want a revision on what happened today in Paco's session. All right. And just in case you guys have any questions with regarding to what happened in today's session, or you have something to share with your fellow participants here, you can always go to the group chat and leave a message here. One of us will get back to you with an answer, or you can also directly ping us by going to the chat option here, and we'll be happy to get back with any answers that you need. So I hope you guys have completed this journal, guys, because it's really important for your certification. So I request you all to please complete it, right? And thank you so much, everybody. Chandan, I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Chetan. Thank you so much, guys, for your time. And there are a couple of questions you might have. You may type in the same community so that we can reach out and we can answer to those questions. Or else, if you have quickly any questions that need to be asked, maybe in another 2-3 minutes, we can, or 5 minutes maximum, we can answer those questions. I'm sorry, I'm having a little cold, so pardon my voice quality, or sometimes I might get choked. Any questions you may have, so quickly you may type in, or maybe you can reach out to us any point of time through the chat, through the sorry, through the community platform, and we will respond back to you. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, Paco. Thank you, Chetan, for your time as well. Have a good night, and see you in next week with identifying how do we go to market with our product, that is your go to market strategy. We are going to discuss about it. Product is ready, you have created the business model, your MAP is ready. Now what is it that we need to go to market? Okay, so see you on 18th April, same time. Till then, bye bye and happy learning.